tell us about American Refugee and your character in the film?
Yes, it's well. First of all, I'm so excited to be. I was really excited to do a Blumhouse movie. I've known Jason Blum for years and years back when he was with the Malaparte Theater Company in New York. This movie is really unique. It takes place during a kind of an economic collapse where martial law has been instituted, and it's basically about two families, one of whom both families need something from each other, but the economy is in collapse, and one family needs to take shelter to be safe, and the other, my character needs somebody to needs a doctor, basically. For my, I have a wife that's pregnant, and so it's about what happens when. When two different groups are put together in the power dynamics, and it's really exciting thriller, very tense suspense, a character driven movie.
You've done it all throughout your career. What was it about this particular project and character that stood out to you?
Well, yeah, this character is really an interesting guy. He's a prepper. He was in the Afghan. He did a tour in Afghanistan. He's one of these guys who is a lot more complicated than he seems at first. He seems like he might, you might just write him off as one of these whatever country people that are preppers, but he's there's a lot of dynamics, from his past, and sort of the pain that he's suffering and things he's gone through in his own family. And I just thought this relationship between himself and the husband and wife of the other family is so interesting, and the power dynamics that come into play. And it's really unexpected, how things go and the surprises. And it's just a really intense character who kind of going through some PTSD, and just really
Mhm.
fun to play.
Yeah, there's so many different layers to each of the characters. Winter in particular lives in this gray area. What was your process like developing this character and towing that line?
Well, I really wanted to take some chances in this movie, and I did my research, and I shot some guns, and did all the things that I usually do for characters. But I really, just mentally went in trying to find the unexpected within myself and as an actor, and kind of do each take and try to do something different. And it was really a fun process. And Ali, the director, was so supportive in that process.
There's so many intense moments within the film, especially with your character. How do you prepare for those scenes?
Well, you know what? I find a quiet place on set, away from everyone. And I mean, I just it's always different, with every project I do, and I, been doing this for 30 years, just growing as an
Yeah.
actor. But I just kind of find a quiet place, and maybe listen to some music, and just kind of relax.
And you're talking about the power struggle earlier. How did you, Erica, and Derek work on that dynamic that we see unfold throughout the film?
Well, those two did a lot of work together. They're such a beautiful couple together on film, and they have a great family unit. My guy was kind of separate, and I really didn't want to. I hung out with them, once the cameras stopped, but each day, here and there. But I didn't really work with them. I didn't want to. I wanted it all
Mhm.
to be. I wanted them to be surprised by me, um, as even more than me being surprised by them, because I kind of, you know, ostensibly hold all the cards in this movie. Things shift and change, and like I said, they're surprises. But I really wanted them to not know what I was thinking or how I might react, or so I really wanted that to be a surprise. So I kind of didn't work with them at all,
Mm.
beforehand, as far as because I wanted their family to be kind of not know what my deal was.
Yeah, and there's so many timely and relevant themes that the film touches upon. Was there one in particular that hit home for you?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is all about an apocalypse, and about how it's kind of dangerous to be outside, literally in this movie, just like, during the pandemic. But it also explores, what kind of dangers you then face inside. And this is a, kind of a literal danger that these folks face, in my bunker. But, if you think about how things are right now in the world, it is dangerous out there, but there's also the kind of, psychological dangers that we all kind of
Mm.
face being inside and being stuck inside, and how we work that out.
Yeah, and with the film coming out in a couple of days, what do you hope audiences take away after they see it?
I hope they just have a really good time, and I don't know that we're trying to really preach any message, but I think it would be interesting if I saw this. I would kind of, it's really eye opening because it's really about
Mhm.
pecking orders and power and kind of seeing your own place in your own, immediate family, but also like your kind of extended family and family of friends. It's just kind of interesting, uh, kind of what you learn about how power works in
Yeah.
this movie.
Yeah. Is there a scene that you're really excited for your fans to see, and which was the most challenging to film?
Well, gosh, there's some scenes later in the movie that are kind of really big and exciting that were amazing to film. I mean, so much of this movie was exciting for me because I was kind of working in a different way. But there's I can't say too much, but there's a dinner scene late in the movie that was really one of my favorite to shoot. And so people get to see that.
You know, when you're playing a character who's so different from who you are, is that more or less challenging?
Sometimes it's honestly, sometimes it's less. I think, I mean, it's very challenging, and every part I do is very challenging. But some of the toughest are when you're playing closest to yourself, because it's really hard to, it's almost sometimes easier to put on an accent and a limp, so to speak, than to
Mm.
really uh, expose yourself for who you are. And I think a lot of people are really scared, actors, to do that, and a lot of people will naturally want to do something different than they are. But playing somebody close to yourself is really revealing, and can be just as scary, if not more, I think, and just as challenging.
Yeah, great answer. I got one final question for you. Besides this film, where can fans see you next?
Oh wow! Well, I have a movie that I did called Unsilenced, that is set in Beijing, and that's about Falun Gong, that's coming out soon. And I also have The Tiger Rising, which is coming out January 20th, I think, um, with Queen Latifah and Catherine McPhee and Dennis Quaid. It's based on a young adult novel. So a couple of other things coming out.